Okay, Geminis, welcome to your March 2023 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. I hope you're all doing really well. Wow, what an incredible month we have for you. Mars has been going through your sign for like 8 months now. It seems like, I think that it's about that long. We've had Mars retrograde in your sign, and we have Mars starting to move direct, and I believe changing sign into Cancer near the end of the month. So, this is going to be a very important time for you where your direct momentum, where your direct choices, where your effort and your masculine energy is tested. Okay, so the way that you do things directly, the choices that you make, the way that you move in a above ground and public or obvious way will be spotlighted during the month of March and will also elevate or evolve if you make really nice decisions here. So, yes, you're up for evolution, Gemini, and I would take time, just intuitively before we get into the tarot, I would take time thinking about what has changed during the last 8 months. So, like since September of 2022, what has changed, what has been questioned, also what conflicts have happened. I found Mars and Gemini to be a very conflicted energy, or conflict oriented, I want to say. It's not even conflicted, it's just oriented towards conflict because it's trying to get things out of the stomach, or it's trying to get things out of the gut. And what I mean by that is it's trying to get those repressed feelings or those repressed notions out into the open. So there's an opening that's happened with this energy, and I feel that in March 2023 this comes to a climax, and we have like a conclusion about like these new things that people know. So if you've had like a conflict with a family member, or if you've had a work conflict, or if you've had anything on these like external planes, right? So like not just within you, but like within the communication with other people, that has come to a conflict point, I think that it will resolve. But for better or for worse is the question. You still have wiggle room there. But I do feel that there is a big problem maybe with jealousy, or there's a big problem with people also not wanting to, this is kind of dark, but not wanting other people to have peace, or not wanting other people to rest easy, perhaps because of what they perceive them to have or what they perceive them to want. So what do you want? What do you have, Gemini? This will very much affect like how this energy is working on you. But most importantly, with Pluto and Saturn changing sign this month, right? Huge generational month we have here, kind of once in a lifetime transits, okay? Alongside Mars changing sign from you to your subsequent sign of Cancer, which it is debilitated in. This is a time of assessing brightness of the future, okay? How bright does the future feel? How has our communication affected the brightness of our future? Also, what do we need to say, or what do we need to communicate in a very direct way? This could be important to do as things may become more indirect moving into April. And I feel, Geminis, that you have some things to do very directly. You have maybe some truths to tell, or you have some just news or messages to communicate to other people. You have a lot of major arcana in your reading this month. The Hierophant, the Chariot, the Devil, and the Fool. That's a lot of forward-moving energy, especially the Chariot and the Fool. The Devil and the Hierophant are more like spiritual. So there's some kind of like spiritual knot that you may have as it relates to moving forward without fear. That's so perfect, Gemini. What a great, clear message. The Devil always indicates some type of like knot, or some kind of like hang up about something, or some type of trust in something that costs or obligates you. The Hierophant is about a greater key, or a greater journey spiritually. It's a more, when it's operating positively, it's a more faithful energy and a more trustful energy. And then, of course, the Chariot being about a vehicle of change, about a catalyst, and the Fool about not being afraid to take a leap of faith. So understanding why you don't feel confident enough to move forward with something that you feel very spiritually tied to is very important. And this might be a lot of what Mars and Gemini has actually been about, is about getting things out there and getting these knots purged out so that we don't have to operate beneath the surface so much, and so that we can more directly achieve what we feel called to in life. Easier said than done, though. Easier said than done. There's a lot of Mars and Gemini that's easier said than done. And also a lot that is perhaps wished to have remained beneath the surface or wished to not have come out and taken on a life of its own. Try to assess things that have a life of their own now. So, like a business that you have, or like a set of relationships, a set of, I don't know, family relationships, anything like that. There might be a life of its own that you can't really control. And for this reason, it might be better to move forward elsewhere in your life. Do you have the independence or the capability? How can you strengthen your independence and capability to do so? This is the most important thing of March for you. Let's talk about your week-to-week Gemini. Week number 1, the Hierophant rooted down by the 9 of Cups. Beautiful, beautiful energy. The first week of March is a godsend of cleansing energy for you. So if you've been wanting to detox, if you've been wanting to hydrate or use Pisces season right in its most pristine natural way, which is to clean and clear out not just the body, but also the spiritual grid, or the health of the physical health, the mental health can all be made better during that time. It might be an interesting time for some of you to go to church. It might be an interesting time for some of you also to just pray on your own. The relationship with the Creator comes up in the first week of March. And also relationships with other gatekeepers as well, like people who are people, not the Creator, but people who might be between you and what you're trying to get towards. So can you start to make your relationships with them better through this more faithful disposition that's available to you? In the second week, you have the 2 of Pentacles reversed rooted down by the Chariot. Okay, some of you are having to move. Some of you are confused about housing. Some of you are like maybe deciding, like, do I move back in with family? Do I take on this high rent price? Do I buy a house? There could be a moving process. There likely is for a lot of people during this all planets direct phase that we're in right now. Okay, so how to get clearer on your living circumstance, whether you're moving or not. I think that it has to do with what advances your higher purpose the most. So rather than maybe just looking at money or just looking at preference, you can look at the higher goal that you have right now, or you can look at the grander scheme of creation that you're trying to achieve. And in the third week, you have the 4 of Wands rooted down by the Devil card. Okay, so you have to really reassess obligations, and this has been coming up in so many of the readings this month. Like, a lot of people are not really aware of the opportunity cost of their obligations. I talked about this extensively in Taurus's reading, so for those of you who have Taurus in your chart, you might watch that reading. I think it was especially in the extended that I went into that. But I talked a lot about how, like, it's hard to perceive of opportunity cost until the cost has been paid, and that's very much like the Devil archetype, which deals with not knowing the price you pay, or not knowing the sacrifice you make to maybe achieve something very small or achieve something unsubstantial in the future. So working with that energy, I think that we have to celebrate what we have, okay? I think that's the first way, and the 4 of Wands, right, is great. For this, it's like it's not even just being satisfied with what you have, because that can get apathetic as well. But I think that you do. I think that you need to understand how what is already here does satisfy, just so that you can transcend this constant need to one up, or this constant need to gain a certain type of primacy or a certain type of superiority. So looking at superiority complexes with Mars and Gemini, it's not what it's cracked up to be. So any form of superiority is always an invitation for attack from other people. It's always an invitation for immense forms of vulnerability. So sometimes it's better to be in what we might see as like smaller places, or what we might see as less pronounced places, to actually really get ahead. Okay, this is true strategy, Gemini, is understanding how people actually get ahead. It's not in that flashy Hollywood way usually. It's usually through much more subdued and safe ways that people get ahead. I mean, it doesn't sound like rocket science, but we have to really get past this allure of this like devil energy, which is not great for people because it is too pronounced and it's um, too much of an opportunity cost and it's too flashy out of place. So try to really revel in what you do have. Try to really understand the love of your current context in order to overcome this. Week number 4, the Fool, rooted down by the Queen of Wands. Beautiful. Okay, by the end of March, we're getting into Aries season. I think that's much more natural for you as a Gemini with the cardinal fire energy, and you have to just maybe go, or you have to step onto that new path. And you seem very stylish, or you seem very supported or popular in this place that makes you trust the universe more, or trust the path more, or trust that you're protected. So also the devil energy only really exists when we don't feel trust of protection, when we feel that we are vulnerable. Like that's a very easy way to get into that energy. So the Fool and the Four of Wands are great ways to combat that, and great ways to rise to your higher potential in a more divine way and in a more light way. There's a lot of light in this reading, Gemini. 9 of Cups, the Chariot, the Four of Wands, the Fool, the Queen of Wands. It's all trying to bring you out to the light. Getting sunlight would be really good. And also getting the body in better shape, working with the body, working with the lymph, working with the flow of the water of the body, making sure you're not stagnating too much. And perhaps then reinventing your wardrobe or reinventing your style as well could be great. But anyway, Geminis, let's talk more about moving into Aries season in your reading and getting through Pisces season in your extended reading. And I will also get some extra cards for you. Come check out the Patreon page. It's a great value. I do weekly forecasts and I do these extended readings early and ad-free over there. You get all of that with the one membership. So come check it out. It's linked below. Have a beautiful month, Geminis. Bye.